Good afternoon. My name is Kelsey Eichert, and I am a specialist degree student at Kennesaw State University, and I will be presenting on Hollis Caswell, the curriculum scholar for Dr. Erik Malewski's EDUC 7900 class. Today, we will be discussing an introduction into the life and career history of Hollis Caswell, his influences in his work, the topics, themes, and theories discussed in his curriculum practices, the significance of his research, the impact of his research on my teaching, and the potential reimagining of the current ELA curriculum for the high school level. Hollis Caswell was born in on October 22nd, 1901 in Woodruff, Kansas. He graduated from a rural Kansas high school and attended 2 years of post-secondary school at Kansas State before transferring to the University of Nebraska. At the University of Nebraska, he obtained his bachelor's degree. After completing college, he took a temporary teaching job. This teaching job was supposed to be temporary to pay for law school. However, after quickly being promoted to principal by age 21, he decided to quit pursuing law and devote his life to teaching. In 3 years, Caswell obtained both a master's and a doctorate degree from the Teachers College of Columbia University. After completing this degree, he moved to Nashville to work as the faculty member at George Peabody College. He worked for 9 years at GPC and eventually became a full-time professor. He then started his work on school improvement and published his first survey, City School Survey and Interpretation and Appraisal. 9 years later, he returned to the Teachers College of Columbia University as the head of the Department of Curriculum and the director of the Division of Instruction. Caswell is known for being a leader in the development of state courses of study and consulting on curriculum programs in over 5 states. He served as the president of the Teachers College from 1954 to 1962. In that time, he launched a 20-year collaborative partnership with schools in Afghanistan, volunteer teacher programs to various African nations, and much more. Upon his retirement from presidency, he was appointed to the Marshall Field Jr. Professorship of Education for the next 5 years at the Teachers College. He also spent time serving as the general chairman of the editorial advisory board for the Fields Enterprises Educational Corporation. Some awards and recognition he received include the John Dewey Society Award in 1973, the American Education Research Association Award in 1981. Some influences on Hollis Caswell's work include Harold Rugg and Warwick Charters. You could also include Franklin Bobbitt and Anne Shoemaker. However, the things that Rugg, Caswell, and Charters had in common were that the development of the whole child was important, the learner's interest in organized knowledge should define curriculum, and that objectives should match with corresponding activities. In other words, you shouldn't just plan random things for random standards. You should include the learner's interest, emphasize the whole child, and include actual teachers in the problem solving that goes into curriculum development. Rugg, Caswell, and Charters all believe that teachers should help plan curriculum and that subject matter should also be planned by teachers. Ornstein and Hunkins in 2018 summarized this by saying curriculum must address children's interest, social function, and organized knowledge. It should provide the proper scope and sequence of subject matter at every grade level. Some themes, topics, and theories that are often found in Caswell's work include shifting curriculum from a developed course of study to an advanced and improved instruction. He also believed that curriculum was a means for helping teachers, not playing gotcha. He believed that teachers should help coordinate instructional activities with subject matter and have those parallel with student needs and interests. No one knows students better than teachers, and teachers need to be involved in the writing of curriculum. He also believed that curriculum should be regimented but flexible at the same time. The design of curriculum was to be structured so that the implementation could be adjusted depending upon students. To create this kind of balance, Hollis Caswell formulated 7 questions of relevance in terms of writing curriculum and developing curriculum. These included the what is curriculum? The why is there a need for curriculum? Function, what's the function of the subject matter? Objectives, how do we determine educational objectives? Organization, how do we organize curriculum? Selection, how do we select subject matter? And measurements, how do we measure the outcomes of instruction? His contributions to curriculum include the design to delivery. He shifted the emphasis from formulating courses to improving instruction. In other words, it wasn't just about creating something on paper, it was about making that thing on paper more applicable to the classroom. He created curriculum to be a guide, not a requirement, by reimagining curriculum as a guide for teachers instead of a required practice. He even opposed the development of a national standard of curriculum for public schools. He wanted to focus more on differentiation in teaching methods and strengthen university centers to influence curricula and teacher training. He was also very outspoken on educational subjects and did not shun controversy. He welcomed citizen interest in schools but opposed its participation by people who were not educators, especially in planning curriculum. Because of this, he created a procedure for developing curriculum that allowed its practice to be a little more applicable to teachers. He encouraged collaboration and worked with colleagues to develop these 7 curriculum questions and encouraged teachers to do the same and be just as open in their work. For me, Caswell's influence directly influenced my teaching, especially in terms of curriculum. As Buckingham states, no one person can do more to provide the stability desired for society than a teacher, and that's how I like to run my classroom. Caswell's entire mindset was that curriculum development is more than just content. It should revolve around 4 main things. It should include history, and that doesn't just include the history of the content, but also the history of students. We gather the history of students by creating opportunities to learn their background knowledge and their personal background, more than just what they already know in the classroom, but who they are as people. He also developed the balance of the textbook and culture, so curriculum should not solely focus on what is written in the textbook, but it should also have parallels to the culture from which their students come. Philosophy is also important to Caswell, and the philosophy of teaching is that teachers are in the classroom to serve and meet the needs of students, and that is how I like to run my classroom as well. And because of this, Caswell promoted a student-focused classroom that focused on the needs and interests of students and balanced the teacher focus. Teachers should be focused on creating relationships with students and organizing and implementing ways for students to feel connected to their content. Some major components of Caswell's research include learning, instruction, and curriculum. Nowhere does Caswell mention test scores as a major component of education and curriculum design. Some changes that Caswell would make to today's ELA curriculum at the high school level include coupling classics with contemporary and shifting focus from descriptive and persuasive to analysis and synthesis. In many high school ELA classrooms, we are still reading classic literature that, yes, they are impactful and they do have great thematic issues and current problems that students face today. However, Caswell, I believe, would call for the bridging of the gap between the past and the present while coupling some of the classic novels with more contemporary options. In doing so, this is also straying away from the old dead white man authors to more representation in authors and characters. In doing this, we are allowing our students to connect with the literature at a deeper level, and it also encourages them to actually read what we're presenting in our classrooms. I also believe that he would shift focus from the persuasive or the how-to or the argumentative writing style and focus more on analysis and synthesis. In doing this, it allows opportunities or creates opportunities for students to deeply dive into themes and ideas that resonate with them while connecting texts to themselves and the world. This is taking students to the next level in their understanding of content, and in doing so, it's allowing them to connect to what they're learning as well. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for joining me as we studied a little bit more about Hollis Caswell.